dive in then. All right. So I'm going to use Microsoft Azure, right? And those that don't know, Microsoft Azure is a cloud service provider, right? We also have AWS, right? Just a little introduction. I know most of you are familiar with the cloud. We talked about it on our introduction to cloud computing class, which most of you guys were on. All right. So when it comes to cloud computing is basically creating computer systems or resources on someone else's machine, right? Usually, if you want a Windows 10 machine, you go to the store and buy a specific machine that has Windows. If you want a Mac operating systems, right? You go to a store, go to Best Buy, whichever store that your favorite electronic store, and buy a machine that has Mac operating systems. So yeah, when it comes to enterprise world, remember they have a website, right? The website that they have has to be hosted or has to be on a computer, right? Which usually is a server. So most of the time they have it in the network closet, right? Or a data center that they have. So that is on premises or in-house, right? Now versus cloud. So cloud, if you want a Windows 10 machine, you just go to whichever cloud provider that you want and then click create a resource, right? And let me type Windows. Let me see what will come up. Now it's giving me Windows 11, right? Windows 10. Once I create it, in order for you to access it, you have to be online because the machine is not in your house anymore, right? It's on the internet. It's on someone else's data center, right? Or someone else's room, right? So we have three main public cloud providers, right? We have the Microsoft Azure, we have the Amazon AWS, and then we have the Google Cloud, right? Those are the three main public cloud providers. Ubuntu here, they have different builds, right? The Ubuntu Server 22.0 LTS, which stands for long-term support. So let's select that. So now it says create a virtual machine, right? So instead of physical machine that you have, we are creating a virtual machine. Resource group is basically a way of containing your resources. So if you are a company that have multiple clients, right? You might create a resource group for each client. So anything that you do for this specific client will be on a specific resource group, right? So you can name it the name of your client, right? And then once it comes to, let's say, destroying the resources, right? So let's say you're done with this client and you need space for other clients, you can go to that resource group and then delete that resource group, which means everything that you created on that specific resource group or under that specific client will be deleted, right? So you don't have to go through one by one to see which one was for this and all that, right? So in this case, let me type So anything, create one here, Linux Bootcamp. So anything that I will be creating pertaining to this bootcamp, I would assign it to this resource group, right? So that is it. What is the name of the virtual machine that I want to create now? Bootcamp Linux. Let me select all size, right? And it tells you the RAM size would be 8 CPU and it'll be 32 gig of RAM, right? And the price is $280 per month. And I'm going to select my username and password, right? So this is my username. My password allows selected port SSH port 22, right? So once I create this virtual machine, I can automatically have SSH access to this machine, and that's what I want, right? So let's click next to go to disk. So networking, we have subnet, right? So you can create a subnet for your specific machine. You can create public IP address for your machine, right? But these are all default, so we're not gonna touch it. So they have option for auto shutdown. Sometimes you create a virtual machine and then you forget that it even works, right? If you don't turn it off, you can pay a lot. With the auto shutdown, right? It's a way of telling you, giving you option for a system to shut down if you forget to shut it down, right? So I'm going to select 12 a.m. right? Let's do 12 a.m. Before it's going to shut it down, it will notify you, Nothing really here. Let's click on tag. Yes, when it comes to tag, I usually like giving it a name tag, right? So name, and I can name it Linux Bootcamp, right? And for those that do not know, if you non-profit or not-for-profit organization or NGO, Microsoft gives you credit towards their cloud platform, right? So it's creating multiple resources, right? It has to create our subnet, it has to create our virtual networks and all that. All right, so it says deployment succeeded. So go to resources, click on that. This is how you manage your Bootcamp Linux virtual machine, right? Connect, right? So now it's giving us the option that we have to connect to this specific machine. So you can use the Microsoft Azure CLI, or we can use native SSH, right? When we say native language, right? The language that you speak when you are born, right? When we say native SSH, basically the SSH platform that comes with the machine that you are using, right? Does anyone remember any SSH platform or software that we downloaded previously? Yes, PADI, right? So PADI is native to Windows, right? So it's saying that use the native SSH that comes with your machine. You can do that as well. So it's usually SSH space the username, right? RSAKOE. That's what I use as my username. Press enter. It tells you that, hey, are you sure you want to continue the connection? I'll type yes. And now it's asking me for a password. So I'm now going to type the password that I created, right? When I was setting up. So, and there you go. So you see here, Bootcamp Linux, right? Let me type who am I, right? It says RSAKOE, right? So I was on my regular Mac operating system command line. And now I pivot or SSH into a different machine here, which is for Bootcamp Linux right here. Let's do cat, right? Let's see etc/shadow. Let's do the shadow file. Why am I getting this error? Can someone tell me why I'm getting this specific error, right? It says permission denied. So I have to use sudo. Remember sudo command, right? So I'm going to use sudo to super user do. Right? So I want to run this specific command as as a root user or as an administrator, right? In Windows, it's administrator. In Linux, it's root, right? So yeah, so most of the time, if you see this permission denied specifically, it means that you have to run it as super user do. So sudo space the command that you want to run. Enter, and it gives you the result, right? So yeah, this is the shadow file, right? So it gives the individual users that are on the account and their password hashes, right? So right here, this is me right here, and this is my password hash, right? All right, so let's all download PADI, right? Let's download PADI. Switch to Safari here, and then so it'll be party.org, PADI, right? And then you click on download PADI right here, the first one, right? So let me send a link here. There you are. How do you set password? There you go. Good job. Has to be the space, right? The username, which is AEALMER, right? Enter. Now it's telling me to type a new password for you, right? So I'm going to use the same thing. I'm going to use your APALMER. Once you are done, once you log in, you're going to change it, right? Enter. So now I have to add you to the admin group, right? How do you view groups in Linux? We talked about that last week as well, because the shadow file will show you the users and their hashed password. What other files do we have? We have /etc/group. That will show you all the groups that are here. So now you have an account. I want to modify. What command do I need to run to modify your account to add you to another group? So yeah, that is it. But then I don't know how to add you to a group, right? So guess what? I will do -H, right? And that is fine. I don't have to remember every single command, but I know for sure that the help will tell me. So enter, right? So you have the primary group and then the supplementary or secondary group. So the primary group will automatically be your name. That's your primary group. So I'm going to leave that as is. Now I'm going to add you to another group, which is for admin. So the group name is for admin, right? So let me try admin. If it doesn't work, then I can use this unique number for admin, right? So let's do admin. And let's see if that will work. Enter. It didn't work. All right, let's try this admin, right? But then we need the person that I want to change, right? It's user mod space, the options, and then the login, right? That makes sense. Oh, I meant, it even tell, perfect. So go ahead. All right, so I'm going to leave it as admin and then press for enter. It says, well, permission denied, so I have to use sudo, which makes sense. Nobody can just go and be changing people and all that, right? That makes sense. Oh, okay, it took it, right? So let's go back to a group and see if you are now in that group. There you go. Your name is now part of what? The admin group. So I'm opening a new tab, right? And then I'm logging in as well. All right, so let me show you something. So when you type echo, right? Echo space hello, what does it do? What does it do? Good. It says hello, right? No, cd. Let's do cd. cd slash dev slash, is it dev? tty. Oh, good. Okay, dev point. All right. So let's do this. Cat slash dev slash pts. Let's just change directory to that. cd, right? And let's do ls. You see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which means I have 5 people logged into this machine. So this directory here keeps track of what people that are logging right now. Let me sign out. Let me exit here from here. Exit, enter, right? Session closed. Let me run the command one more time. You see here, it says 0, the number 1 logged out, right? So it's 0, 2, 3, 4. Right? So this directory tells you or shows you a number of people that are logged into the same machine, right? So now when you type the wall command, it goes to all these people that are logged in. But remember, we also talked about what? Domain names, right? Or FQDNs. So I don't have any domain name, but I have an public IP address, right? So it's the same thing as what? www.facebook.com, right? Facebook.com has what? An IP address at the back end. So now let's configure a DNS, right? You can either have a custom, you see where it says create alias record, right? You can create your own, right? You can create, let's say, linux.mydomain.com, right? But at the same time, Microsoft Azure gives you a default domain name that you can use, right? So let me type your bootcamp Linux. Let me try this. Let me try test. Now this is my domain, right? Initially it wasn't there, but now it's there. So let me copy it, come here. Instead of using the IP address, let me use the domain. So that is it. So you can use IP address to connect to a machine, or you can use fully qualified domain name, right? Do ns lookup, grab that information, the fully qualified domain name, press enter, and let's see what IP address it gives us. There you go. So now this is mapping back to so this is how domain works.